Oh, yeah. Let me check this out.
Everybody get your phones out.
I'll join on here and double talk it.
You'll be our first viewer.
Robert, you're so cute.
So there we go. Now we're up to 5. We got a few people watching us now, including you two. So I guess that means 3 of us. 12. We're climbing a little bit.
It's slowly there.
20. That works. Hey, so welcome everybody to another edition of Bushnell Live. This is a very special edition because we're going to be talking with 2 extraordinary shooters who just so happen to be on Team Bushnell. We've got Missy, Melissa Gilliland, and Robert Brantley. How you guys doing?
Good, man. How about yourself?
Good. Good to see you guys.
You too. Thanks for having us.
This is kind of a new one for us because this is the first time we've done one of these with 3 different people in 3 different locations. We had Casey and Jesse on. We had the Whitetail Freaks. They were together. So we'll see how this works with all 3 of us in completely different places.
I kind of like it though, because it reminds me of the Brady Bunch. It's like, and in this corner you got Matt, and in this corner you got Robert.
I learned a valuable thing though on those Zoom calls. If you're ever on one, just where people are on at your screen is not where you might be on theirs. So
right,
thought that was kind of weird.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
So if you guys are tuning in and you don't know the 2 people I'm with, then I guess we're going to try to educate you a little bit because this is going to be kind of a PRS edition. We're going to talk a little bit to Melissa and Robert about, what they've got planned for the 2020 season, a few questions for PRS. Of course, we'll have kind of an open Q&A, try to get to as many of those as we can. And then of course, we've got our famous lightning round so we can really dive deep inside Robert and Melissa and see what happens inside that mind of theirs. See how kooky or not kooky they are.
Sounds dangerous.
I was about to say it's the end of the day, brother. So
we got.
I just now started drinking coffee.
So Robert, I've got to say something right off the bat. You're not at home and your wife is due. So I got to ask: is she just the most forgiving, accepting wife, or do you have a hunch that you've got a little bit of time if you need to get back in a hurry?
Well, I should have a little bit of time, man. I might possibly have got kicked out and then just decided to end up in Roanoke, Virginia for a few days. But no, I'm going to head up to New York and shoot with a buddy and have a little fun. And the wife encouraged it, and she's as good as can be. So we're all good for now. Just hope the baby stays in till I return.
Well, she's watching right now, so that's awesome. So yeah, that's exciting stuff. Congratulations, man. So you know it's going to be a boy, right? We're losing Robert. If you didn't hear that first part, Robert's actually on his way to Roanoke to shoot with a kind of let's call him a VIP, if you will. They're going to do a little shooting, and then he's going to head on back home. But we might have to. I'll send him a text, let him know he's froze up.
At least he's got a big smile on his face.
Exactly.
That's got to count for something.
So, Missy, how are things in Georgia? What's going on there in Armageddon gear? How are things going?
Man, things are going really good here. We just came out with the new medium, and that's been a hot ticket item right now for us. So that's been great up here. Business has been great. Ladies, everybody's just, busy up here. Weather-wise, we are high humidity, so it's hot here. I like it. So
yeah, it's getting hot here in Missouri too. I just sent Robert a message. He might have to log off and log back on. But
yeah.
So this will work kind of easy. We won't have to integrate him with questions. But Missy, you've been doing PRS for a while. This is something that's definitely not new to you, right? 8 years. How many years has it been exactly?
Oh gosh, my first match was in 2012, and I did a team match with my husband up in Cookeville, Tennessee. It was on a working farm. So it was in the days where you'd have to shoo the cows off the range. You could So you could get your shot. But man, it was fun. I think that was like a PTS match, but that was my first introduction into the long range community. I mean, I had tagged along with him to a match before, and it just something intriguing was about it. So 2013 is when I really started sinking my teeth into it. And I've not looked back since. I love it. It's a lot of fun. The sport's great. Everyone's shooting in it. The camaraderie is awesome.
So was it just the kind of the allure of long range shooting that attracted to you, or did you look at any other type of competitions, 3-gun, IPSC, Steel Nationals, or just do exactly what you wanted to do?
Yeah, I tell you, when I went to that match with him in early 2012, there were a few other ladies out there shooting. Sydney Luster was one, and Trina was another lady, and they were the only two out there. And I just thought, man, this is really cool. And just the whole format of how, the matches are ran, and just being able to shoot, small targets at distance, that was really intriguing. And I think it was when I first hit 800 yards and hearing that ding for the first time, that was just, I fell in love with it. And so, and my husband at the time, he was like, why don't you look into getting into 3-gun? Why don't you look? But I was like, no, I really like this long range game. It was just a lot of fun.
That's awesome. As I do with everybody that comes on the show, I did a little digging. So always kind of sleuthing around the internet. And I thought this was a great picture of you and Jim. And this has to be pretty early on, right? Just kind of getting going.
I think that was in 2013.
That was my guess. So yeah, you started shooting competitively, at 2013 time. But before you did that, I was curious if there was somebody else besides Jim that kind of got you on the PRS kind of mind, and that might be your boss that I'm talking about. I found a really cool photo with you guys back in 2011, and that was awesome. Yeah. So I thought there might be an early connection there to the sport as well.
Yeah. Tom and my husband were together. I know they're both in Ranger Regiment, so that's how they knew each other. And when we PCS'd here to Fort Benning, I mean, we'd go over there and do barbecues and things like that. But yeah.
Well, that's awesome that you guys, kind of met that way, and then now you guys both work there at Armageddon Gear. So that's really cool.
Yeah, our personalities mesh well.
Well, you have a very easygoing one, and I know Tom's a little rambunctious at times, so it's good that you can kind of keep him level set.
God bless his wife.
So 2015, I think it was, you started with Bushnell, correct? Is that about that right time? I'm making you think back.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, I mean, since then, you've had a really good, run or career, if you will. I mean, I know you've had several top 10 finishes. You've been, named by the NRA as one of the top 50 women in competitive shooting. So that's got to feel good to kind of not, have a short but, long career as far as, getting started and then starting to see some results. That's probably kind of rare a little bit for most shooters.
Yeah. I tell you, I learned, my husband, Jim, he taught me a lot. In the beginning, he taught me a lot. Let me back up. In the beginning, no, he did. He taught me, everything. He was a former sniper, and I would get some of his books out and flip through them, read through them, and just try to correlate, his real world shooting into, the target shooting. And it got to a point where, and in these matches, you're not just in prone. So what one position may have worked great for him just really wasn't working for me. And it wasn't until I just really started listening to myself and doing what I felt was comfortable that I really started, excelling, I guess you would say. And that was really the first time I ever beat him in a match. So in the beginning, my biggest thing was, I got to beat him. So that was the first match I beat him in. That felt great. But he's a good guy. I love him.
No, Jim, if anybody who doesn't know Jim, you're missing one hell of a guy. Super nice. He's one of those guys that'll give you a shirt off his back. So awesome having him. I think we might have Robert back. Let's see if we can get him back from that technical. There he is.
There he is.
You didn't think you'd get rid of me that easy, did you?
I thought I knew how to work that delete button a little better.
No, I think my computer overheated, actually.
Oh.
Oh, that's awesome. So, Robert, we were talking to Missy a little bit about her first match. Do you remember when it was when you kind of started competing? I mean, I think when I was looking back, like 2009 is when you started shooting a little more competitively.
It was 08 or 09, and I went to a match at Thunder Valley Precision, and this was before the PRS, and it was pretty small, and I thought I had the baddest rig out there. I had a 300 Win Mag and a Pentax Light Seeker Scope Winchester rifle, and I hit one target the entire match, but like everyone was real helpful and like went out of their way to help me out. It didn't do much good, but it was there, and I just knew I'd never do that again. So obviously I got dead last, and it just lit a fire. It was fun.
Yeah, I think you hit on a big thing there for anybody who's watching this and might not have shot a PRS match. I mean, it is a very welcoming community. You go to any match, and if you find yourself short on a bag or missing a piece of gear, you know, within the context of the rules, of course, and especially at really cool matches like the Grind, everybody's there to help. And I think that's very common in all the shooting sports I've ever done. So it's something for everybody to hold their head up high about. Very welcoming.
Everyone wants to beat you at your best, so they want you to do your best. So, and you know, it's not always about winning or losing. I see guys light up when things start clicking about long range competition, and you start seeing things and how to apply to just. I mean, it's fun to watch other people grow, and we've all started somewhere, and you know, you need to encourage other people to help the new guys. It's what keeps it going.
Yeah.
Did either of you think that you would, you know, kind of be where you are today? Because I mean, you started off as a shooter, maybe with one or two sponsors, and now you represent some huge brands, and a lot of people have seen what you can do. So, Missy, how's that feel to have all those sponsors on your jersey, and you know that kind of that status, if you will?
I mean, it's a great feeling. I mean, like Robert said, a lot of times I know with sponsorships, it's great to win. But, you know, win or lose, I really think it's how you are representing yourself and representing that company out there on the field. And, you know, this sport is, like he said, it's so welcoming. And to be able to go out there, share your passion, and then share products with people, you know, that is, it's a good feeling, especially to have companies entrust in you, you know, that you are going to represent them well. Yeah.
No, it's great to have you guys kind of, you're a big part of the Bushnell family, if you will, because not only Bushnell, but RCBS and Hoppies. So it's great that we get to see both of you guys on so many different occasions. It's great.
Yeah.
So, so for those who, you know, might not be familiar with PRS, you know, in general, Precision Rifle Series, basically you're looking at long range competitions that happen all over the world. There's mini matches, there's one-day matches, there's two-day matches, there are high-level regional sponsored matches, there are amateur matches. So there's a lot of different ways for people to get involved. You know, one of my big suggestions to anybody is if you're looking for a match, go on Practice Score. I mean, there are lots of places to find what's going on. You guys use that too, or do you use something else to see where all the events are taking place?
I mean, I'll run to the precisionrifleseries.com page. I know they've got a lot of the regional and also the two-day national matches on that. I run to it, or I'll run to specifically like Alta Shooting Solutions, or I'll go to the actual place like K&M or Alabama. I'll go to their actual website, and then you can get a whole list of all the matches that they are having.
What about you, Robert? What do you do to stay in tune with all the matches?
Well, my schedule changes so quick that I just try to adapt as quick as I can, and I usually just look out a few weeks out and see what may or may not be able to jump into, and kind of do everything last minute, which I find it very fun. There's obviously a few matches throughout the year that I will plan and put on my calendar, like the K&M Collis match, the Gap Grind, Georgia's match this year. You know, there'll be a few must-haves, but, you know, for the little one-day matches, I don't plan real far out on anything like that. Just jump in when I can.
Yeah, there's a lot of it going on. And Wendy Sanders there, she wanted to tell you guys how much she appreciates all the advice and friendship. She thanks you guys both for helping her out along her PRS journey. So that's awesome.
Yeah, he's awesome.
So when you guys, had that first match, did you know right away what division you wanted to shoot? Because in the PRS, you have some options. We were talking about them, what's going on a little bit before we got on. So you both shoot in the typical open division. Did you know right away, Robert, that's where you wanted to try open, or did you think about it in the other ones?
Well, when the PRS first started, I don't think they had a tactical division. I had a 260 at the time, and that was only open. That's the only rifle I had, so I just kept going with the 260. And I think they kind of introduced the tactical division later on. And as a team, we try to cover most of the bases, with Team GA Precision. So most of us shoot open, but we keep one tactical shooter in, if we can. And they got Cooper doing that right now, Mark Cooper, and he's absolutely burning it up. Just got the series on fire. So I think I'm going to stay in open. It's just naturally where I fit in, and with the gear I have and stuff like that. And
This might be take two. So what about you, Missy? Have you thought about jumping into another division or giving, production or a tactical try?
I mean, George has got the new production rifle. I've thought about it. I mean, I'm comfortable where I'm at in the open division. And when I first started, they didn't, like Robert said, they didn't have the divisions. The divisions came along later. But no, I mean, I really like the open, and like you said, Mark Cooper's killing it in the tactical division, and we're all real proud of him.
He is lighting it up, and
he's on fire.
And recently, there's been, some of his scores have placed him at the very top of the podium, which I think, generally is kind of an oddity in itself in most of those matches. Could you attest to that? That doesn't happen very frequently. The TAC shooter will finish so high up in the overall standings.
Right.
And so what puts them at a disadvantage or makes it more complicated on their end to you, Missy? What are they dealing with that you're not, or what do you get how's it from your side of the fence looking over?
Well, I tell you, I shoot a 6 Creedmoor. And Mark Cooper, I believe he's shooting 308. And I know he is like holding more wind than I'm holding. There's definitely advantages and disadvantages, to the calibers, obviously. But the 308 is going to be a lot, in my opinion. This is not anybody else's opinion out there. Let me put a disclaimer. 308 to me, and I've shot a match with a 223 before. It's tough. It's tough, especially shooting, distances and with the winds, and, Cooper's owning it out there. Like I said, with that 308, I mean, he's the man right now.
I don't know.
He really is killing it.
Yeah, he made a comment just a minute ago saying, TAC is not a choice, it's a lifestyle. So give Mark some credit for what he's doing.
I love him. He's so cool. He's a cool guy. Fun to hang with.
So talking about your gear, run us through what you're using, Missy. What's your setup look like?
Well, my setup, I shoot for GA Precision. I shoot the 6 Creedmoor. I've got a 26-inch Bartline barrel. It's the Templar V2 Action. I've got the AP8. I've got the APA little bastard brake. And I have it it's the Manor stock. It's the carbon fiber. I believe it's the EH1A. But right now I'm about to switch over to I've got a new stock being made at the moment as well. And I've got the Bushnell. I'm shooting the DMR2 Pro. I had the XRS for a very long time. Loved my XRS. Switched over to the DMR2 Pro. And like I said, I love it. I'm comfortable with my gear. And I think that's half the battle in this sport is being comfortable and knowing your gear.
Yeah, no, I think you hit it right on the head. I think we might get Robert back here in a minute, but being comfortable in your rig, just like golfing or any sport that you play in, baseball players, they have their rituals with their bats and everything too. So let's see if we might get Robert back. He might not be back. There he is. Maybe he's just gonna keep us going with that pretty face.
He is. He's just gonna. I'm listening for him.
Poor guy on the way to Roanoke to shoot with a VIP. Life is rough while his wife's at home due any day. So God bless the man. Hopefully he can get coverage quick. So Missy, on your rig, I think I've got a picture of it I wanted to show. Of course, this is going to be a little bit older because you said you made a switch out in the versions. But is this yours? Is this your girl?
That is my baby right there.
Right on.
She is
So
hot.
outside of the scope, are there any other changes? You said you've got a stock being made for you right now, but any other thing you've done or done differently since this picture was taken?
No, and I've still got that one. I'll be shooting this weekend with her. I named her the Black Widow.
That was something I was going to ask you about.
Yeah.
Competitors naming their rifles. Is that something that happens a lot on the circuit? Is that something you've got to do once you get to that level?
I don't know if you have to do that. I've always done that, but I just think maybe that's my personality. When I first saw the stock, it reminded me of spider webs, and I was like, "Ooh,
right.
Black Widow! She eats them in." That was my thought on it, and that's how my rifle got that name. But yeah, I think a few other people's name their rifles, so it's not very odd.
You said plural though, so does that mean you've named every rifle that you own currently or have owned?
I have, yes.
That's great. Tell me. I don't need to know what rifle it is, but what's the best name you think out of all of them? Try not to think about the gun itself or what you're using it for, but what's the best name you got?
It would definitely be the Black Widow, hands down. My first ever PRS rifle, I named him Jake. It was a him. Don't ask me how I can tell if it's a guy or girl, but I named him Jake, and I loved Jake. But Black Widow, she's hands down. She's smoking. There he is.
Can you hear us?
I can hear y'all, and my signal says it's perfect. So I don't know what happens. Third time's a charm. So if I lose you this time, I'll respectfully bow out to avoid any issues.
Oh no, this is good.
No, keep coming back. This is exciting.
Whack-a-mole.
Robert,
where's Robert?
Every time you fade out, your picture just stays there, and you're smiling. So it's good. People
Lord,
who are,
I don't want that burned in your image.
Anybody who's fast forwarding through this will be like, "Hey, Robert was there the whole time." They'll never know.
Yeah.
So, Robert, I was asking Missy to run us through her rig. Can you tell us what your current setup looks like now? What you're running?
Yep, I'm running. Obviously, it's built by GA Precision. I'm running a 6 GT. I got a Manners composite stocks T5A on it. It's the thumb hole stock. I've always loved it. It just fits me great. I can manage recoil well and transition it well, so I love the thumb hole. I run a Bartline MTU. It kind of balances it out in the front and makes it nice and steady on some barricades. Run Trigger Tech triggers and Defiance actions. APA, the little bastard Gen 3 brake, and shoot some Hornet EA tips and call it good. It's got obviously a Bushnell XRS2 on the top. So
Missy was just talking about converting. She just made the switch a little bit this season to the DMR2. Have you given that a look, the Pro version, or are you going to stick with that XRS?
Sykes and George really talk up the Pro model, and I know the glass is great in it, and I wonder if the more generous eye box will help me out rather than the increase of magnification. So it's in my head, and I keep going back and forth which one, but I haven't gave the Pro a try yet. I think it'd be great because I started out with the DMR2 before, and it always was a top-notch scope.
Yeah, and you hit on it right there. I mean, really the only difference is the magnification. They're sharing all those other similarities with the ED Prime glass and quick zero stop and the way everything. Just magnification for the people. But that's come in handy for you. I guess I should have addressed you as the king when they came on, or soon to be king. You got a big match coming up. You're going to try to do a repeat, not only on the U.S. soil, but are you still going over to Europe to do the King of the 2 Miles? Is that still a go, or did that get knocked down with the COVID?
That match got postponed, so I don't know where we stand at in that. I'm down if Mr. Tom wants to go. America, we're always going to go there and try to do it in Raton. So that'll be our main spot, but I'd like to try some other countries for sure.
What about you, Missy? Have you got to shoot anywhere else besides the United States? I know you're active in the Guardian, and every once in a while, like last year, they try to do an international match. Have you gotten to shoot out of state any?
No, that Guardian match last year, I think it was in Ireland. I was planning to go to it, but I had some health issues that prevented me from doing that last year. But no, I've so far I've just stuck in the United States. I'll fly. I'll fly to the other side.
So
There's some PRS matches in Mongolia now. Me and Missy ought to go.
Yeah.
I could do Mongolia.
I like that. That'd be awesome. So what's your favorite range or facility that you've used in the U.S.? Is there a favorite or a couple of close seconds? Robert, what about you?
Man, K&M's always going to be hard to beat. Obviously, everyone knows that. If you want the Western stuff, there's some really nice stuff out there. I mean, if you were able to go, like when Jake Bibbert did that match at Telluride, I wasn't there, but just knowing the landscape, I couldn't imagine getting much better than that. Love Altus. Arena's fun. I mean, I always have fun no matter where they stick us, but K&M, if I had to choose, I guess I'd have to go with K&M.
What about Missy? What are some of your favorite places that you've gotten to shoot a match at?
Gosh, I think it was the 2015 Precision Rifle Series finale. We shot out into Tehachapi, California. That was really nice out there. And Mill Creek Shootout, which was in Colorado. It was south of Denver. I just remember that was nice. Beautiful. That was really beautiful out there. Around here in the Southeast, I mean, I shoot Altus, Alabama, and Arena a lot. But I think Altus and Arena, that's a close second for me. And I like K&M too. Don't get me wrong, because that is super nice there too.
Yeah,
it's hard, man. It's hard.
Well, I know. It's another good reason for anybody out there who wants to go shoot. There's a lot of great facilities, and even the local matches they can put on a good fun time for anybody who wants to do. So,
yeah, Robert, Shannon, if you go to K&M, so that's the only downside there.
Yeah, you do have to handle with Shannon when you're at K&M. That's
but
great.
Don't get on his grass, whatever you do.
And if you're a smoker, don't be dropping your cigarette butts anywhere.
You gotta love him.
Definitely, great people. Him and Julie are doing a lot for the PRS, and we appreciate all the support they give all the sponsors and keeping everything. It's not an easy task because we talked about all the different places that you guys named. There's a lot of matches and a lot of activity going on. I think people underestimate just how big the PRS is. What's that like for you guys getting to watch it grow, so much over the last, 2 or 3 years, last year in particular? Missy, how's that feel to kind of be a part of that, such a growing sport?
It's nice. I know when I first started, there might have been 25, 30 matches, and now it's like there's 1 and 2 matches a weekend. So it's been really great just to see how much the PRS has grown and the involvement in it, both men and women. That has been real. It's been encouraging, to see that big growth.
What about you, Robert? Does it feel like you were shooting on the high school team and now you're in the NFL or the major league, the way everything's blown up? What's that feeling like?
It's crazy to me because I got to go see some of my first matches that were the big matches were 50 or 60 people back then. Those were the big ones. And, now that's a small PRS match. I think that's the limit of how many can be on the minimum side. You go to like the grind, it's 400 or so. So it's nuts, and seeing the growth is what I love. I love most all the countries in the companies in the industry, and I love watching all them grow and the shooters and the series. I mean, it's a great time to be a precision rifle shooter for sure.
Yeah, most definitely. You guys have been a part of it and got to see that escalation, but it's great from every which angle to see all those people getting in. Talking about PRS matches, one of the questions I wanted to ask you guys, a lot of them are similar in going like the stages of fire, but a lot of them are different based on the facility itself and what they can bring in for props, etc. When you look at some of the common stages used, do you guys have a least favorite, whether it's barricade or movers or test your limits? Is there one that you're just like, man, it gets you before you go in? Robert, do you have a least favorite?
Used to, I did, but then they come out with the game changer, and that kind of changed everything, literally. So that kind of everything's universal underneath that. Now, I'm not a big fan of TYL or KYL stages because I think that can be unfair depending on when you get to shoot it versus another guy if it's the kind where you lose all your points and it's one and done. So if I saw that would probably be my least favorite, but I love the challenge. So I really don't loathe or love any other stage more than the other. I just look at it as a stage and just move through it. It's a problem. You need to solve it and just work through it. And if they're easy, just count your blessings.
And for those who might not be familiar with that stage, I think Robert's talking about it. It gets harder if you're later in the groups to shoot it because the steel gets shot up and they're not repainting targets between every squad. So, those targets get harder to see. Yeah. So
yeah, that's true.
What do you have to do? What do you have to do in both those scenarios on those stages, Missy and Robert, to really kind of hone in if that situation plays out for you? What's your tip?
I know what I do. I got some earmuffs, and I can communicate with Missy and discuss wind calls and stuff like that. And she'll usually walk me right in, and it's a clean most every time for me.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
That works too. Vanquish are making that happen. Possible champion. That's awesome. Glad that we can answer that. What about you, Miss? Is there a certain stage that kind of rattled you at first? Maybe you got over it too, or one you just don't like shooting as much as the others?
I'm kind of with Robert on those, the TYL and the KYLs. Like you said, it depends on the time of day. Usually like mornings, it usually seems like there's hardly any wind, but man, those people that get to them in the afternoon, targets are shot up, you got winds blowing, usually, you may not, but I tell you, one of my most feared stages used to be the net. You don't see the net being played anymore, but Shannon used to play as the net a lot, and you would have to like pick a rung. You know what I'm talking about, Robert?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I used to. That would always just scare me to death. That and climbing up them logs down at Altus. But I mean, you go with the flow, and like he said, once you have that game changer, everything is. Just make sure you get in that good position. But that used to be my most feared. But we don't play on the nets no more.
What about conversely? What's been your favorite? What's been your guys' favorite kind of stage to shoot, or one that you seem to excel the most at?
Oh no, there goes Robert.
Oh no, there goes Robert again. He might not join us next time around. There he is.
Oh no, he's back. I like this game.
So Missy, you have a favorite stage?
I guess I've got like two of them. I guess my favorite would be I like rooftop stages and movers. Movers are like my absolute favorite, and I think because I'm just like honed in and I'm really focused. And I usually sometimes I'll do really well on movers, but rooftops and movers are some of my favorites.
What about you, Robert? Do you have a favorite stage?
I like movers. Shoot houses normally are that for me. I love a shoot house stage. I love multiple positions. I like moving and reacquiring targets and stuff like that. So shoot houses, most likely, if I had to name one, which is going to vary from range to range, how they
That's
do
true.
it. But I like that.
So I found a couple pictures of you guys shooting in some different positions. So I'll show those for some people as we kind of talk so they can get kind of an idea of some of the obstacles you're up there. But, what do you think, for the first time shooter or somebody getting into the sport is a position that they should practice, to getting in and getting comfortable that you seem to use a lot during competition?
Any barricade, I'd say.
Yeah. High, low.
And so just kind of
tell me to take off your bipod and just take a bag and go practice. And just so now I'll kind of verify some data, verify dope at distance when I first go to the range and lay down and do that prone, and then take the bipod off and just practice and just hit every random prop that I can. I'll shoot off a bush hog, a tractor, whatever. I mean, just change it up because you never know what you're going to get to in a match. So practice the same way is my philosophy.
Would you agree with that, Missy? You're shaking your head.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Man is on the money. Let me find him where man's on the money down there.
Thanks, Marcia.
So you kind of talked about that, Robert, kind of practicing at home. Is that just one of the keys to grab your game changer and your rifle and just, make sure obviously you're safe and empty and just kind of get in and out of weird positions? Think that's a good trainer tip?
Well, I told my wife we needed a table in the backyard, so I found a wire spool, and that can also double as a prop. So some days I'll leave it flat and shoot off of it, and other days I'll stand it up, move it around, and I can dry fire. I got an airport for the backyard, but I can't fire. So I got plenty of dry fire spots, and that's what I'll do all the time. I'll just go out there, dry fire a little bit, and try to break on small targets, and you'll see that you can get pretty solid with that. Then it just moves right over into the real world. As soon as you take that rifle, it's just going to recoil when you pull the trigger. It's the only difference. So
Yeah.
What about you, Missy? You have any tips for kind of practicing at home or during the off season when you can't make it to the range, stuff that could help somebody out?
Yeah, definitely. I'll do the same thing Robert does. I've actually, for Mother's Day, Jim built me a barricade. That's what I wanted. And so I would practice off that. But like if it's cold outside, inside the house, obviously no ammo, but I will practice dry firing off my couch. I'll take kitchen chairs. I just try to get in the most uncomfortable position imaginable. And with the game changer, just try to get extremely steady, and just practice dry firing. I've got like a transformer across the road, and it's, I just practice dry firing against that off everything. I don't have neighbors, so I don't see a crazy woman,
The power goes out in Buena Vista, we know what happened.
I know, right? Like, whoops.
And I think something to keep in mind too, and I struggle with it, being relatively new to the sport compared to you guys, is not so much getting in that position, but trying to maintain the same grip on your gun, on the bag, and moving it into that next one if you're able to already have had that foundation, built. So I think what you guys are talking about, getting in and out of positions, that works both ways, not even getting into them, but getting out of them and moving to the next one. So good tip for everybody. So is the easiest shooting position prone? Is that unanimous? Would you agree with that?
Before the game changer it was, but now, every time I go to the range, I shoot 3 groups on paper, and I shoot 3 with the magneto speed. 1 group with the magneto speed, 1 prone or modified prone, and 1 off a barricade with a game changer. And 80% of the time, my groups are tighter off the barricade with the game changer, believe it or not. So that's kind of got my thoughts changed on that for this day and time.
What about you, Misty? You think prone's the easiest position by far?
For me, everybody's different. When it comes to this, it's easier for me to shoot prone. Because you're prone. So yeah, it's easier for me. I do practice game changer, but yeah, bipod extended, I prone's easier for me.
So
generally I'll agree with that.
I was going to ask you guys, what's your favorite bag, but I think that's a no-brainer by this point. You've only said it 20 times, so there we go. So
I came with props.
So
well, the game changer's got multiple variations, which is my dilemma.
Yeah.
Do I want to run a pint size, a medium, an OG, the sticky? There's all these options, so which is a great thing, but I stick to the OG myself. But I just got a medium, and I'm toying with that right now. But overall, it's definitely going to be a game changer somehow.
Yeah, for sure. And if you don't have a particular game changer, I know what I do. I always have my OG. And now with the medium, I'll have Jim carry it for me because that sucker's heavy. But it is a hoss out there on the range. But if it looks like there's a stage that I might need, like a sticky, there is somebody out there with a sticky. I'll walk up and down until I find one and be like, can I borrow that? And then go shoot the stage and then bring it right back.
So
yeah,
people
like Tom's bombs at Altus.
Yeah.
So Missy, hold that bag up one more time, Missy, for somebody, and give us kind of the quick rundown. Why is that? Sounds like that's the pivotal thing. If you're going to get in PRS, get you a game changer. What's so good about what you mentioned it, but tell us a little about it.
So Clifton Razor, this was a original design of his. It is patented. But my favorite out of all the game changers we make so far has been the OG wax canvas. To me, it just conforms better to a barricade. Once you stick your rifle on top, your rifle just settles right in with it, and you're so steady on it. And you can use it over a barricade sideways. I've seen some people flip them upside down. It's really all in how you practice with it. But like I said, it's personal preference. Some guys really like the regular Game Changer, which has the straps on top. I like the OG wax canvas. To me, it just conforms better. And then the new medium I got one of these too. Ooh. So he's like an in-between size of the pint size and the OG Game Changer. This one has the extra waxy wax canvas on it, and for real. And it's that one, like I said, you can throw it on a bus window, throw your rifle on top of it, and your rifle's not going anywhere.
Nice.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's a good pickup for anybody who's looking for some, a piece of kit. What else do you guys recommend, for anybody who's getting into it? You need a good bag? What are some other, you guys kind of have must-haves or should gets for somebody entering the sport? Robert?
Risk coach, data board, something like that for sure. Some way to manage your data. And then a Kestrel, I'd say, or a phone app. Those are going to be you can do almost everything you want as long as you got ammo, gun, good data, and a solid bag. Then you just got to manage your data, and you could technically shoot a match with just that, I'd say.
Yeah.
What about you, Missy? Any other piece of gear that you would recommend somebody? We talked about Kestrel, get something to store your data. You got the bag. Anything else?
Like he said, maybe a comp data armband, something to write your dope on, because you're not only just shooting one target. Sometimes you're shooting up to 5 or 6 targets, and you're gonna need to know what your elevation is. So writing it down, like on a comp data armband, it's great to have as well.
So
another thing is wind calls. If you don't know what your wind's going to be, you can write down, say, a 3, 6, and a 9 mile-an-hour wind. 3 different charts. So if you shoot at 480 yards and you call it a 6, and then you see it's actually going to be a 9, you'll have another chart that you can go over, another wind curve per se, and then you're back on target. So that's another good reason you can run a data board, is to manage various winds, because no one ever guesses the wind exactly right. So that's a good way to compensate for your error.
Yeah, definitely. And Robert, I know you're a big fan when it comes to calling wind. Is you really love those 15 by 56s on the match. How valuable have those been to you when you're out there, the Forge 15 by 56, to kind of pick up what's going on down range?
I love them. I love the LMSS2 because it's got the reticle in it and it can go down to low magnification. I really like that. So the Forges make me have to choose between the two, but man, it's really nice. You pick up a lot of mirage, and then a new shooter, if you don't really know what the wind's going to do, you can get behind a shooter and watch his trace, and you'll pick that up very well with those things. Then you can kind of see, are guys holding left, holding right. You can observe the bullet and see how it behaves when it's fired. But you find targets quick. If you use them for hunting, things just jump out. You see mirage really well with them. So I love the Forges. Those things are an incredible value, and they're in my kit right now. Like, they don't leave. Very, very handy.
What about you, Missy? What do you find to go to when it comes to calling wind? Do you prefer a nice big power binos, or a spotter, or your rifle scope? What do you think you use the most when it comes to that?
I've got the really right stuff, the tripod, and I'll put my Forge, the 15s on it. And I'll do the same thing he does. I'll try to get behind, not in the way of the RO or anything, obviously, but I'll get behind that, because like I said, the glass on those Forge, the clarity on those is so clear. Like he said, you can see the trace, you can see the mirage. Those would definitely be my favorite go-tos for sure.
Yeah, I think one of the pieces of gear that I like to have, and I don't see as much people, just because it's easy, but I brought some props too, but just a good old pair of binos, having those in your bag, because as you guys know, when you're up around a stage and that there's only 1 or 2 people looking through a high power optic, just having a pair of binos is a nice thing to at least get an observation before you can.
I like a rangefinder too. You can confirm distances, and rarely I'll see distances off, but it has happened before, and I've seen it happen multiple times. So I like a good rangefinder as well. But if you're not shooting at a range or a match that gives you ranges, then you have to have a rangefinder. So for me and where I shoot, a rangefinder is a must. Like, you might as well not even go shoot distance without one. So And that new one y'all have, the Nitro, that joker's pretty sweet. So it's compact and it fits in the bag and works well. Hey, like the truck stop I'm at.
I like it, man. This is Bushnell
So original.
this is unedited live version. Heck yeah, love it. It's good. No, we're glad your connection is in there. So if you're just tuning in here, we've been talking with Missy Gilliland and Robert Brantley, talking a little PRS. If you've got a question for one of these two, feel free to fire it off in the comments. We'll try to get to them. I've got a couple other questions I wanted to ask him. So we talked a little bit about shooting positions, talked a little bit about wind calls, but on that note, dialing and holding, two totally different things when it comes to a match. I was curious if you guys find yourself gravitating to one or the other, and what do you feel kind of the pros and the cons are? Missy, we'll start with you.
It obviously depends on the amount of time. To me, that's what I do. Depends on the amount of time that you have, and if you are in the positions that you're getting into and everything. For me, I mean, I'll do a lot of holds, especially if you've got, it's easier to do holds for me. Like I said, if you have less time, especially like the 90 seconds, and you're having to move quickly through a stage, dialing, I will try to dial if I think I can, quickly get it. But the dialing to me is going to be a little more accurate than holding, because you don't know. Well, listen at me. You know where you're holding. I go down into a rabbit hole with this one, but
what about you, Robert? Is it all based on time? Kind of like Misty said, how much the man down there, how much time you got, whether you do one or the other?
For sure. So if you're going to shoot a stage and say it's 10 shots and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I may would hold on something like that. Or if say it's 1, 2, 3, move, 1, 2, 3, move, and it's different ranges, then I might dial to my middle target and hold under and above. But it all depends on, how much time. If I have the opportunity, I'm going to dial every time, because I feel like I'm more precise and I'm just about as quick dialing, because I'll spend a good bit of time in that reticle convincing myself I'm at 3.2 and not 2.2 or something like that, where if I dial 2.2 on the turret and I find that crosshairs, I'm just going to send it. So, everyone's brain works differently. So I try to dial when I can. And if you're in high wind situations, you usually have a little bit more forgiveness in wind and cant and things like that when you're dialing.
Nice. So, Missy, Sherry's got a question kind of directed, I think, probably more to you to help her out, but any tips for short women with positional shooting, what they might be able to do there?
So other than the Game Changer, I carry with me a fat bag. I use the fat bag large, and here lately I've been using a big ass fat bag, and I will, it sounds horrible and people are going to be like, what? But I'll try to gauge my height with maybe another guy that's on the squad or something. And I watch to see, okay, is he having problems over the hood or whatnot? And I have before thrown fat bag large down and stepped on top of it to try to get that height for that. I try to be creative out there, especially if I'm not tall enough. And I know it is a lot of times now, though, they'll have maybe, I'm not going to say a stool, but I have seen blocks and things on barricades that short people might have a little bit of problems on. So they are being, some of the match directors are being a little more accommodating now.
And they just changed the rules in the PRS for the barricade, I believe.
Yeah.
For a lot of people. Now they have 6 positions rather than 4. So, people of shorter stature can mount up to the middle position and not have to fight it quite as much.
Right.
Got you.
The height works both ways, because if you're big and tall and then they stick you in a little pipe or running through a shoot house, you can have issues there too. So, being medium size, I guess, could be an advantage, fun size.
So Whitney had a question he was wanting to ask about kind of cardio, light training, weights. Anything you guys do to kind of stay a little bit in shape? Robert shaking his head no, not at all.
I had to leave the sport if I had to do that. No, I walk in the morning and evening. That's about all I do, and it shows.
Robert.
What about you, Missy? Are you got a little workout regimen or anything you do to kind of, run?
I do now after, when COVID hit, and you couldn't really do anything. I mean, I'd go out and walk, but man, and I don't mean to get off subject here, but when the Mexican restaurants had margaritas to go, I was like down with that now. It's like tacos, margaritas to go, and cornhole. That was where it's at. But that was all in the past. That's in the past. But yeah, I do. I work out. I try to work out 3 times a week. I've got a trainer right now I'm working with to try to help me build muscle and everything. I do a lot of cardio though, because you are going to be walking. Depending on the range you're at, you're definitely going to be walking with all your gear and or running a stage with it all. I've seen that too.
Well, Robert, I think you're giving yourself too hard of a time. I know you like to eat, but I mean, you've lost, not to, get way off 72, but you've lost a considerable amount of weight lately, over the last couple of years. So I know something's driving that a little bit.
Oh yeah. And I got into it a little bit, and during working out, I gave myself a hernia that I can't get fixed until the elective surgeries come back in. So, I've kind of taken a hiatus on the fitness side, but I just try to watch what I eat pretty much.
Yeah, I can tell in this, and here you're definitely watching what you're eating. I always love when you're in the line with Robert. He's always letting everybody else go first because he says, I'm going to eat everything that's left. So just
if competitive eating becomes a bigger sport, I could easily see myself jumping into that.
So that kind of leads into another good question is, the best match lunch you've had. I mean, we all know these facilities usually get a good dinner going, but what's if you could only maybe one you've had, or if you could choose anything to eat during the midway point of a match, what would it be? Missy.
Let me press my button. Hands down, I would say down at Altus, they have pounders. It's like Hawaiian. That is like the absolute best lunch ever. I mean, sorry to everybody else, but that is like hands down the best ever. It's like Hawaiian food. It's like a steak and chicken, like teriyaki with the rice and the sauce, and it's so good. That's my favorite.
It's very good. I'll have to agree with Missy on that one. And I'll have to say for supper, AG Cup knocked it out with their post-match supper. So give Tom a little credit there.
Yeah, too. Good thing you got to enjoy that one because you were kind of experiencing the dinner you'd had before during the main match, it looked like, from my point of view, Robert.
I think someone tried to poison me, but we'll talk about that later.
That's funny. Talking a little bit more about gear. If we have any other questions, feel free to fire them away. But is there a piece of gear that you see used a lot that you're just kind of like, or maybe just the weirdest piece of gear you've seen used in a match that you're just like, what in the world are they doing? Does anything come to mind? Because I've seen it, and I've not shot as many matches as you. So just curious. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but curious what you might have.
I'd say not this last finale, but the finale before, they used a cooler on the stage to stabilize the prop. Maybe Yeti Coolers is jumping in on the sponsorship side, but I guess that's probably the strangest thing I've seen.
What about me? What about you, Missy? Have you seen anything strange being used out there?
I mean, it's not strange. At first, when I first saw it, I thought it kind of was, but it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. I've seen a couple guys out there with little bottles with baby powder in them, and they'll step out there and do that and see which way the wind's blowing, with the baby powder. It's their wind indicator.
Yep.
It's cool. It works.
Yeah.
Not knocking it, please.
Or be old school and be like Rick Reeves and carry a bag of goose down in your boot, and then get out there and throw the little feathers out and watch them go for 200 yards. And I got to rip that idea off. That's a pretty good one too.
Yeah, that's a good one. So he's a good guy.
Shale had a question, talking about somebody new to PRS. What caliber would you recommend to a new shooter? Robert, do you have something you suggest they try out first off?
If you're going to my normal, if you haven't shot, I'd say a 6.5 Creedmoor. And the reason I think about that is it has a little bit more recoil than a 6 and a little bit better barrel life. So by the time you're getting accustomed to what you're doing with the 6, you'd probably be burnt out. So a 6.5 would give you that little bit more. But once you've shot, I'd say rebarrel to a 6 or a 6 GT. So if you're not going to reload, I'd say a 6 Creedmoor is probably the best. And then I'm going to go with the 6 GT if you're capable of reloading. So I would kind of look at it in that way.
What about you, Missy? You kind of follow along with that? Do you recommend 6.5 or something else?
I definitely would, because there's a lot of great factory loads out there for the 6.5. I know Hornady's got some good factory loads, and so does Federal. So I definitely would go with him on that one.
When we talk about
factory
ammo,
matches these days. I mean, or can. So there's really the cost is what's holding most people back, or the cartridge that you're wanting to shoot. But you can do really well with factory ammo these days. It shouldn't really hold you back.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. We have seen some people just, it's like last week, some of the Federal shooters, there's some people doing really well. I know on the Hornady team as well, shooting with factory ammo. But you guys take it one step further. You both are reloaders. Tell me a little bit, in your opinion, Missy, what do you think that gives you, reloading your own match loads, and why you take it to do that extra step?
I think the reloading, to me, I know it's consistent, and I know when I'm reloading, I know exactly, I load 42.2 grains of powder. I know that is in each and every piece of ammo that I'm using right at the moment. So the reloading is definitely more precise to me, like I said, but I'm not knocking the factory loads out there by any means. But I just, like you said, getting out there, getting into PRS, having the confidence in your gear and what you're shooting with, reloading my own. I know I am concise and I am anal when it comes to reloading. It takes me forever. I will wait, for that last grain, and then wait to make sure, and I might cross-reference on things. It's just, to me, it's more accurate, more precise. And I'm using the 105 Burger bullets with that as well.
What about you, Robert? Why are you a reloader? What advantage do you think that gives you on the competitive circuit?
So I think there's an advantage to both. Last week, I just went to a match last minute, and I just threw a case of Hornady 6 Creed ammo in the truck. So I'm always going to have those Creedmoors and 308s that I can just always get factory ammo. And to me, that allows me to focus on one gun that I'm going to be meticulous on. And right now, this is a GT, so my dice stay set up for that. I know exactly where the load is. And then I can hand load for a tailored round specific to my gun. And what hand loading also does for me, it gives me two kinds of loads. So I have the A-tips are kind of pricey if you're going to be practicing with them. So what I do is I have my A-tip load that I'll shoot 2-day matches with, and it'll be meticulous. Everything will be weighed to the grain, just like Missy said, and it'll be perfect. And then I'll have my 108 ELD load that I just use that stay ball powder on and just drop it from that RCBS Uniflow. And I can bang out 50 rounds, 100 rounds really quick for an afternoon to go out and have fun. And that was a quarter of the price of factory ammo. And then my hand loads are meticulous for the matches. So I know I'm not giving anything up when I go there. So to me, hand loading offers versatility on what ammo is appropriate for the purpose. Because one of my ranges, I only shoot out to 500 yards. And if I'm just going to be practicing positional out to 400 or 500 yards, that just drop powder charge and economy load, let's say, does me fine. And I get a lot of practice in, where if I was limited to only shooting my high-end ammo, whether it be factory, so I'm going to get less practice time in, and therefore probably not do as well because I wasn't able to tune myself up. So yeah. Versatility.
Sure. And you guys both mentioned it. Now, Robert, you mentioned the Uniflow is from RCBS being a good one. Missy, do you have a piece of RCBS equipment that just you would be helpless without in your reloading pursuits?
My favorite, I love the Matchmaster, the new Matchmaster that they just came out with. That one in the Chargemaster Light. Huh? Yeah.
I was asking with the dispenser because I love the dies too.
Yeah. That is, that's a must-have piece of gear for sure.
So one question that didn't come up, I figured might, but what's your guys' furthest recorded impact or shot? I know you guys both like to see how far you can send one. So Missy, what about you? Do you have a furthest confirmed shot?
Mine would be a mile, but that is nothing compared to the man down there.
What about you, Robert? What's this kind of a soft serve baseball question? What's your furthest shot?
Just past 2 miles, essentially 2 miles.
Gosh,
that is a long way.
In practice.
So yeah, Missy just said it. He is the king. If you
he is the king.
Mr. Robert there, looking good on his throne. There's obviously tremendous shooting, but you did a couple things there that haven't been done in a while. Between the first year and the last year, and that's got to be kind of quite a good feeling to know have won it one year and then place second the follow-up years. So I bet you're hungry to get back out there for this year.
Yeah, we were really close, and I was looking at the history, and no previous winner had ever made a podium finish before. So we were proud about that. My goal was just to be in the top 10 or make the finale. I felt like if I did that, I'd never seen, as far as I know, anybody that won it before even make the finale the next year. So that was my goal to begin with. So I was pretty happy to do better than that. But just being out there and meeting the people and shooting with them and, the little smack talk that goes along with it, that's what I enjoy, just being out there. And Mr. Tom Manners, who I work for, loves that stuff. And I love being out there with him and watching him do his thing. And, like, he takes it very seriously. I do, too. I take it very serious. But, you can tell it means a lot to him, and he loves that community. So I enjoy being out there with like-minded people doing what we love. So nice. Same as PRS.
Yeah, definitely. No, one more picture I got to show from Robert's deal. I thought turned out really nice. If you were at any of the trade shows, had a great big blown up picture there. But you were using a scope that most people thought probably didn't have any place being out there, right? You were probably the only person shooting a Bushnell that first year.
The first year I was the only person, and a lot of people, I should say, questioned it. Some people didn't really know what it was or why I would choose it, and the answer was easy on choosing that because I've beat the crap out of several Bushnells throughout the years of various models, and they've all, if they're going to do anything, it's going to stay together, hold zero, and track reliably. So I knew that I was trusting in something that would work on that. So that's why I went with it. And I mean, I don't see that scope holding you back against any other scope out there. So really, I didn't feel like I was, cutting myself short, but I think now people have a lot more appreciation for Bushnell in that genre of shooting, because it was a few other brands that dominated, and they're great scope brands too and do well. But, I'm glad to see Bushnell get a little traction on the, look at that face. See Bushnell get a little traction on the ELR circuit.
That was my answer for the people that are going, he's shooting a Bushnell? He's shooting a what?
I remember that match. That was in Wyoming, and I just recovered. I think it was my first match after I broke my leg, and they rode me up four-wheelers to get on the heels, and I'd shoot. And there was intense winds up there, and the calls didn't really match what I was seeing down there. So that's what that face was. That was me and the RO just really going over it. So, we weren't arguing. I'm not big on arguing with the ROs. A lot of people do it. A lot of people shun on that, and I always respect what they do and spending their time. But, sometimes it can be confusing. So.
No, definitely. So
Missy knows.
If you guys, it can be confusing.
So if you weren't shooting professionally and working in the industry, what do you think you would be doing? Missy, did you have any career hopes growing up or different ambitions that you thought you might do? So
my background, I've got a paralegal background. So I'm a little bit of a nerd. Okay. Did paralegal and real estate, and I really enjoyed that. But now I'm here at Armageddon Gear, so I love it.
That sounds a lot more fun.
It is. It is. You should meet my boss sometimes.
What about you, Robert? Did you have any other career ambitions or something you thought you might be doing with your life?
I never seen myself doing much as far as relationships or anything like what is now within rifle, but precision rifle has been my biggest passion since I was a little kid, and that has definitely been my biggest hobby. So I'd want to stay as close to there as I could, whether that's working in the industry, competition, just rubbing elbows. It doesn't really matter to me. So whatever I can do to be close to that is where my happiness lies.
Nice. I thought from maybe all the show tunes you like to play and treat us with sometimes on the Instagram and stuff that maybe you were going to be a rock star.
I enjoyed music, but so I really, when I got my guitar and started progressing, it was the same time I got a 10-22 rifle and things like that and started being able to shoot. So the rifle kind of just took over, and the guitar is what happened in the evenings whenever I couldn't be out in the daytime shooting my gun. But
So
then night vision came along and then changed all that too. So
see, you're beating me to the punch on both of those, Robert, because I thought maybe this was your career band. Right?
Oh Lord.
Oh wow!
I thought this was where your career would go. Is that you on the far left?
Far left.
Gotcha.
Oh,
Blue
that's
guitar.
cool.
So yeah,
that was a Halloween party years ago. I remember that, and that was a shutdown job. They had all these rowdy workers working in this shutdown yard right across, and they had a campground right there. So we were like 16, and they paid us to come play there. And I remember that night they put a lot of fireworks in the road, and a cop happened to drive over when the fireworks went off, and he came in there and sent a lot of people home. So that was a wild night. We weren't supposed to be there with the drinking and all that. So
that's great.
That's old school.
So what you're telling me is that kid we saw there on the far left, for everybody maybe who missed that, we'll throw that back up there.
He's like, I'm going to put it back up again.
So this guy was just playing. Then he got a 10-22, and then he found night vision for the first time. So this happened for him. So that was the progression. Wow. I get it, right?
I remember that too. Yeah.
That's good
New York
stuff.
For that one. I'm back here with it now. But yeah, I love night vision, guitars, guns, all of it. I mean, it just all goes together. Good time.
Well, Missy, I was surprised you didn't say something with coffee, like maybe a barista or brew my own coffee, because I figured as much as you like coffee, maybe there was some hopes, maybe retirement, you'll go into coffee business.
True story here. I really didn't start drinking coffee till about 2010. And I was at my sister Deb's house, and she had brewed some coffee, and I always liked the smell of it. But then when she started adding little creamers and frou-frous, oh my gosh, then I fell in love with it. And then my body was like, where have you been all my life? So
if you're not following Missy on any of her social channels, I can promise you'll read a little bit about coffee. You'll see some gems like 99 Problems and Coffee Solves All of them. And Coffee Zones. That was good stuff. Yeah, if you're a coffee aficionado, Missy's your guy. She can get you set up. So you got another secret besides coffee, Missy. I think this is something maybe you did or still do, but you get those pretty nails of yours done before the matches, right? Is that kind of a pregame routine?
That's my pregame. Yeah. Look, I feel confident in my rifle, my gear, and my trigger finger. So yeah.
And I think this proves it. You might be hard, but those nails look done and look like you're ready to go.
I was in the zone. That's right.
What about you, Robert? Do you have any kind of pre-match routines or anything you do to kind of that's standard, maybe a meal or a drink or whatever?
Coffee, I'd say, and make sure I have enough ammo in my bag. I make sure I got my ammo and all my stuff, and that's my routine. And then show up probably last minute.
I think the one thing that I think both of you guys are missing, that you guys always like to have a good time, and you're always smiling. So I think that's a big thing to have. I mean, I can't think of a picture I see without Melissa where she's not enjoying herself or just having a good time. And that's what it's all about. So that goes a long way during a match as well, I'm sure.
It does.
If you join the PRS match and not have fun, I wonder what's wrong with you. I mean, this is the fun thing I found to do. So, it's always a great time. Even if I'm shooting bad, I still have fun.
Mm-hmm.
And Missy, I do have one more question for you on that pregame routine. Do you say anything to your rifle before you go up to the line? Do you whisper in the Black Widow's ear or anything, or just she knows what you feel?
Yeah, actually I do. I don't know if you've got, I kiss it sometimes. Like, we got this.
So
We got
every
this.
once in a while, every once in a while, just a nice little kiss. Got it.
Look, that was after a really good stage, and I was, that might have been right before. I think I was kissing it before for good luck.
Okay.
I'll kiss it for good luck. Yeah, that was
one little
before.
kiss, she's good to go.
Yep.
Awesome.
I love that rifle.
So 2 things. Robert, I think you missed out when we asked that question, but you name your rifle, or how does your rifle have a name? Do any of your rifles have a name?
I've got a few rifles with names, but I didn't name any of them. Other people just started calling. I got a little short one. Guys called Stump. I got Sweet Sally. Everyone else just started calling it that, so I just went along with it. But I really don't name anything.
So does this bad boy have a name? Because this has been around you've been shooting this thing for a while.
That's Old Silver.
Right off the bat. I love it. Well, guys,
The Tin Man. I called it the Tin Man.
The Tin Man. Well, I've got just a few more questions, and we'll let you go. We appreciate you spending so much time with us. I know you've got other things to do on your Thursday afternoon than talk with me, but this has been fun. Definitely enjoy it. So, couple of quick questions, and we'll jump into our lightning round for you, because I gotta ask those questions. But one other question I had regarding this PRS, if you could choose between, a windy day, large size targets at a closer distance, that 700-800 yards, 500-700-800 yards, or a picture perfect calm day with small targets at like 800, 900, 1,000, 1,200, what would you pick? What would you find? What would be your answer there, Robert? Do you have a preference between the windy and small, or calm or windy and big and calm and small targets at distance?
If I'm shooting that GT and some A-tips, man, I love hitting small targets at distance, and it's amazing how accurate, that thing can be, just dead on consistent. But I probably would have to say, in a match scenario, the closer targets is big, because a lot of people have fun, and if there's new shooters in there, you'll really see them light up. They'll be less hard on themselves, and everyone just tends to have more fun. You'll see people throw fits if they have a bad stage, because those bad stages will just kill you in those matches. So I like a good mix of that, across the board. I have fun shooting anything, and, if your stuff's dialed in, you should be pretty good either way. But I don't know, when everything's on, I like the long, challenging stuff.
What about you, Melissa? Do you have a preference between those two options?
Yeah, hold on. Hi, Prentice. Hello. I'm with Robert. Huh?
He's looking for the scores.
I know, that's what he's looking for, probably. I'm with Robert. Especially when you get out there and you've got the newer shooters. I mean, you want to build that confidence in them. I'd have to go with the wind and the larger targets. We've all been there where we've had really bad stages, and you're just like, oh my God, is it me? What? Obviously it's you, but I'm just saying. But it's such a confidence builder, because most of the matches do have a good mix of small and large targets. And so I enjoy seeing people that really, have had a good time. They're hitting targets, and they want to come back for more, so that's it's a very positive thing. So
yeah, no, I think that's good. That's a good decision on why you would prefer on that. So one thing for anybody, of course, is a little bit late this year probably, because I know they fill up fast. But if you haven't shot a PRS match, a great place to do it would be the Bushnell Gap grind out there at K&M. So I mean, you guys have done that multiple times. I know shot with a variety of amateurs. Have you ever seen anybody not have a good time in that environment?
Mm-mm.
Not even close.
And Melissa, you're always out there with a younger lady. At least it seems like the last couple of years, and I know that's gotta be real rewarding to get them out there and knocking down targets. Talk to a little bit about some of the amateurs you've shot with the last couple of years.
Gosh, Mary Beth Olson. I started shooting with her at the Gap Grind, the Pro-Am, when she was either about to turn 9 or about to turn 10. I can't remember. I was trying to think about this the other night. But I tell you, I always tell people it's not so much about the pro. as far as scoring goes, when it comes to the pro-am, it's making sure that the amateurs are having a good time. It's showing them the ropes of how the game is and everything. But it was such a confidence booster just to see her, help her getting into position. I mean, she's a great shooter. And like I said, at 9 and 10 years old, that felt so good, and I'm so glad, they allowed me to shoot with her at that match. And at the end of that match, Shannon had put her up on his shoulder, and it was just it was just great, and I really didn't care where I finished at. I just wanted to make sure Mary Beth had the best time ever, and I think that's what's really important,
I think I got a good image of that, but I think that's the two of you, or maybe practicing, or is that her, or did I get the wrong image?
Nope, that's her.
Awesome.
Yep.
That's great to have that. Robert, what do you enjoy most about the grind? What's your favorite thing about that kind of, for those that don't know, the Gap grind is a pro-am. So pros shoot with AMs. When you're out there as an amateur, all the pros can help you. So you're not just isolated to trying to figure it out on your own as you might be in some other matches. So it's a great event. Of course, the people at K&M do a great job. But Robert, what do you enjoy most about the grind?
Man, I've got to. Don't fell out a tree on me. Just seeing new shooters just have fun and just come alive with it, because there'll always be some industry people that's out there that is taking back information to better the sports and the products there. You'll see new shooters, all walks of life, and you'll see in their eyes when it just comes together. And start off slow. My wife now, I shot with her this last year, and she struggled on the first one. Then you start seeing her clean stages, and then she even beat me on some stages that we shot straight up side by side. So I know it could hurt to have someone that just started shooting outshoot you on the stage, but I enjoyed that. I was so proud for her and other shooters to watch them clean the stage, because they'll get excited and jump up. So it's definitely about the AM, and I think that's probably one of the best matches in the series, no doubt.
Yeah, no, it's a fun one. Definitely one of the reasons why, Bushnell and so many other great companies have decided to, throw our full support behind that, because it is an environment like anything else. And it's a lot of fun. It is all about the amateurs. George says that, Shannon says that when they get up there and talk, everybody echoes that. So it's just great to see so many first-time shooters out there. And we look forward to being back there in October. And I'm not sure if there's any individual slots still open, but definitely go check out the PRS website. And if you can't get in this year, definitely make plans for last year. And we'd love to see you out there. All right, guys. So I know I've been a little long in the tooth, but are you ready for the lightning round here? I think we're about at that time.
Can I make a suggestion? Can I say something first?
Sure.
I love how Robert's background keeps changing. He was at the truck stop, then he was in front of this fence. Now he's in front of big trees.
Now he's giving us a twirl around. I love it. It's great.
Okay, sorry. I tried to make that.
No, as long as he's not doing it in the car while he's driving, we're good.
That was going to be an option, but
okay, sorry.
On his way to Roanoke to shoot with a very, very VIP. That's awesome, man. Well,
I'm in Roanoke, headed to New York. I still got another, I don't know how many hours, several hours to go.
Well, I hope the rest of your drive goes easier than your reception that you've had during the last 50, 60 minutes with us. So, but no, we appreciate both of you guys coming on. It's been a lot of fun. We'll have to do this again. We hit on a lot of topics, and I wish I could have went down that rabbit hole Missy was talking about to hit on some other ones. So we'll have to do this again and expand upon a couple of those. So without further ado, the secret with the lightning round is try not to think about your answers. Okay, so first answer is generally the correct one. There is no wrong answer. These are your answers. So what we'll do is we'll go ladies first, and then we'll alternate, so that way Missy doesn't feel like she's leading the answers each time. So just a couple 12 questions, kind of rapid fire. You've seen the show before. We like to ask everybody because I think it's a good judgment of your character.
Oh gosh. I have no control what's about to come out of my mouth then.
Well, I don't have the little FTC warning, but we could throw that up there real quick.
Okay.
Caution. All right. Let me get on my sheet. All right. So Missy, question number 1. Then Robert, this will be your next question too. So once she answers, if you got your answer, go ahead and rip it off, and then we'll start with you next time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. Missy, on your hot dog, mustard or ketchup?
Ketchup.
Robert. Ketchup. All right.
Ketchup.
Robert, you're a hunter. I know both of you guys hunt a lot. So what's the best natural solution for no toilet paper?
Socks.
Missy?
Shake it. Sorry.
Okay. All right. All right, Missy, back to you. Did Carol Baskins really kill her husband?
Yes.
Robert? All right.
Sardine oil.
All right, Robert. Back to you, man. It's okay to pee in the shower, yes or no?
Absolutely. I hear that the ammonia can kind of clear out the drain for hair and particles, so I highly recommend it.
Melissa?
Yes.
All right.
It's all good.
All right, Melissa, back to you. You'll never find me at the range. It's a fill in the blank. You'll never find me at the range without blank.
Without my Hoppy's gun medic, for sure.
All right.
That's
Robert?
the first thing.
Without my head screwed on straight.
All right, Robert. Back to you. Peanut butter, crunchy or smooth?
Smooth. Creamy. Extra creamy.
Melissa, you agree?
Oh, crunchy. Sorry. Crunchy.
Come on. She agrees. Okay.
You're like, okay.
All right, Melissa, back to you. I know you've gotten to hunt some pretty cool things. You and Jesse Harrison were out there on that awesome mule deer hunt. But if you could only hunt one species for the rest of your life, what are you hunting?
Oh, it'll be a mule deer because that was freaking awesome. Sorry.
You're good.
Predator hunting for me, bobcats and coyotes are a tough call.
Okay, I like it. All right. Here's a musical question for you, Robert. If you can invite anybody into your living room to give you a live performance, who are you inviting in?
Ted Nugent.
Missy, what about you?
That's what I was about to say.
All right, got some Ted fans in there. Long live
Big
Uncle
battle
Ted.
between guns and guitars. We'll have fun.
I know. Right.
And hunting.
All right, let's see. Melissa, back to you. The best thing about being another fill in the blank. Sorry, should have warned you. The best thing about being a PRS shooter is fill in the blank.
The camaraderie among all the competitors. That's the first thing.
Robert?
The atmosphere.
Okay.
Just, yeah. I mean, and being what everyone makes that to be.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Robert, back to you. Cake or pie?
Cheesecake.
Oh, cake.
Cake. All right. Very good.
Sure.
All right, we just got a couple more. You guys are doing awesome. Keep it up. All right, Robert. You went in there back when toilet paper was a scarce thing, and you pulled out that stash, that secret stash of Charmin. When you put it on the roll, was it going over or under?
Oh, it's a waterfall. It's got to come pour out at you. But to be honest with you, we just set ours on the tub beside the toilet and call it good.
Stack them. I like it.
We ain't too proud. And shout out to my wife that goes through about 2 rolls a day.
Courtney loves you for that. Yeah. What about you? Over or under?
Over.
All right. Okay. Final question. And we kind of talked about it earlier, so it kind of ties in. If you could go to any country, state, we'll say country or continent to shoot a match, where would you go and why? Robert?
Country, you said?
Yeah, country or continent, wherever. Yeah, if you don't want to be that specific.
New Zealand.
Why would you want to go there?
Just the pictures I've seen. To be honest with you, I haven't explored enough of America, so I'd rather stay here. But if I had to go somewhere else, I'm going to say New Zealand, just off the cuff.
Cool. Melissa, how about you?
I would have to either go with Ireland or Australia. Just Ireland, just because of the rolling hills. It just looks beautiful there.
Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations! You passed the lightning round. You can
just don't bring Tom to Ireland.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And Robert, after that last question, I don't know if I were you, if I were going to go home because you're going to get in trouble there.
I'm 1,000 miles away. I'm good.
Nice.
It'll cool down by the time I get back.
Oh, another wrong answer.
Oh my gosh, Robert.
He's learning early in his marriage, isn't he, Missy?
Oh, wow.
All right. Well, guys, once again, this has been a lot of fun. We appreciate both of you very much. Perfect timing. It looks like we lost Robert again. So,
Oh, goodness.
Missy, Robert, we both appreciate you spending some time with us. Tell everybody where they can keep up with all your adventures and where you're going to be shooting at next, if you know.
Yeah, this weekend I'll be shooting down at Arena Training Facility. I'm shooting the MPA one-day match. Alabama next weekend, then I'll be at Cool Acres the weekend after that. You can find me on social media, Facebook at the Missy Gilliland, or on Instagram at Melissa.Gilliland. Or here at Armageddon Gear. This is my second home. Always at Armageddon Gear.
We'll try Robert. Robert, are you there? Is it just your pretty face?
Look at his smile. Oh, he's gone.
All right, we lost him. I think that's his time. All right, Missy, you have a good evening, and we'll be back here next Thursday. We got a special treat. Will and Jimmy Primos are going to be on talking about everything going on at the Primos. So if you've got any questions for those guys, they've done a lot, not only to vitalize the predator call market and the hunting market in general, but they've killed some big animals. So we look forward to talking to them. But Missy, we appreciate you. And we'll talk to you soon. Have a good evening.
Absolutely. Have a great one. Bye.
Bye.